So the new Hi Toe 4 wedge from TaylorMade is all about all terrain and all the time. No matter if you're playing in fescue strewn links or out of thick Bermuda rough, swing the club steeply or shallow, there's a Hi Toe 4 wedge for you. That's what TaylorMade say anyway. So we've got some different grinds available in this wedge, which we'll talk about in a second. It's got a raw face, so gives another element of friction to give golfers more control around the greens. The raw face wedge reduces glare as well, and is preferred by many of TaylorMade's touring professionals all over the world. We'll also see in the bottom groove here as well, we've got a gold paint infill that really helps to sort of center the club face and also helps with alignment a little bit. TaylorMade are saying these are going to spin like never before. So the full face is obviously something that's been very popular in many wedges, and many different companies have had these. These are available in 54, 56, 58 and 60-degree lofts, and all of those lofts utilize the spin tread technology that TaylorMade has put here. So in between each groove, we've got these little almost like tire treads there to help take moisture away and add friction to the shot. And in terms of the grind, so we've got the ATS, ATV, ATC sole. So basically ATS is more of like a square sole, so a bit fuller kind of grind on there. ATV, V standing for versatility, so we can see a little bit of heel and toe relief, also a bit of leading edge as well. So it's just versatile out of a variety of different lies. That's available in 56, 58 and 60 in 11 bounce. ATC is almost that C-shaped kind of grind with low bounce in the heel and toe for a lot more versatility, available in 58 and 60. And then the ATS with squarer grind we spoke about at the start is pretty much available in every single loft. So we're going to put them through their paces here in the Performance Centre today and show you a little bit of how they stack up against the previous model as well. I'm Ryan Rastell, and as usual, we are here at Howley Hall Golf Club in Leeds. A slightly new look Howley Hall. We've just had the sort of hitting bay here redone, which I think looks absolutely awesome. And we're going to put these wedges through their paces, as I've said. So I've got a 56 and a 60, 60 in the ATC and a 56 in the ATS. So it's two different grinds for us to test. We're going to do some testing out on the golf course, but I thought in here we'd do a bit of testing with the Trackman as well. So I've actually got the previous mill grind model here in a 60. So I'm going to put both of these head to head, have a bit of a look at the spin and see if there's much of a difference between those two. Then we're going to get out on the golf course, put these grinds to the test, and I'll kind of tell you what type of player each one of these is going to suit as well. So let's hit a few in here. So we're going to start just by hitting a nice little kind of 40-yard pitch shot, just that kind of mid-range shot that we'd hit with a wedge like this. Like I say, I've got the 60-degree here in the ATC sole. So we've got 8 bounce on this and this nice kind of C-shaped grind here on the sole as well, which is great. I really like that paint infill in the leading edge as well. I think it really improves on what was an already very, very good wedge in the previous version, and it obviously matches with this really nice grip as well. So the shaft in here, we've got Dynamic Gold Wedge 115, the Tour issue, which is obviously a very popular one as well. So let's hit a few shots and see. Feels very soft off the face, which I really like. And we can see already it's grabbed a piece of that golf ball as well. So this kind of spin and tread that we've got in there. Well, some of you might not like that it's going to take the covers off your golf balls, but it's telling you that there's plenty of friction there and it's really helping you to get the spin. And certainly when I've tested TaylorMade wedges in the past, they're amongst some of the spinniest ones that we use. A little bit further that time. Again, feels really, really good off the face. It's landed 45 yards. Again, taking a little bit out the golf ball as well. Yeah, very good. And we can see of those strikes, we can really see that it's starting to just take a little bit out that club face. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit a load more shots with this, and then I'm going to hit some with the previous model of this wedge, and then we're going to have a bit of a look at the Trackman numbers and see how they compare. So if we take a look at the numbers that we've got here inside on the Trackman, the reason I did it in here is because I wanted to hit some with no kind of interference with like moisture or dirt or anything like that. So it was just pure data in here with the Trackman and just looking at things like launch angles and spins really. So when we look at what we've got on here, we can see with the previous model of Hi Toe wedge, the Hi Toe 3, average spin rate of this kind of 40-yard pitch shot, 6,800 RPM, whereas we've got 6,954 as an average with the new Hi Toe 4, so a little bit of an increase in spin on a 40-yard shot, which is pretty good, which is what you would expect really with those additions, particularly with the kind of treads in between the grooves that we've seen here. The other thing was the higher CG, right? So we would expect lower launch, and we're certainly seeing that quite significantly, I would say, really, in a wedge. So you kind of 3 degrees lower launch on a 40-yard shot, which is quite a bit, really. And we can see in terms of the height, 16 feet versus 19 feet. So obviously 3 feet difference in the peak height there as well. Ball speed's very similar. Club speed going in slightly lower. I'm not a robot, so it's going to be slightly different. But yeah, I mean, we can certainly see there is a difference there in both spin and launch in both these models of wedge, which is exactly what we would expect to see, having kind of talked about the technology that TaylorMade have put into these. And certainly it's kind of delivering in here. Out on the golf course, though, is where we are going to use these wedges a hell of a lot more. So let's get out there. Let's have a bit of a look. So we thought we'd try some sort of longer, fuller pitch shots with these wedges. So I've got the 56, again in that ATS sole, so 10 bounce, a little bit wider, that more square kind of grind. Really designed to go through the turf on these fuller sort of pitch shots that we're going to hit. So we've got a shot of about 100 yards here with 56, which should be pretty much how far it goes. So let's see how these react and how they come off the face. Obviously quite a sunny day here, and one of the things about these wedges is reducing that glare, and it certainly does that compared to that sort of chrome finish that I've got in some of my wedges. So yeah, it's definitely better from that glare perspective. Let's hit a few shots. Yeah, came off the face very nicely. It's a pretty good start. It's about 8 foot from the hole, so that'll do. Again, comes off the face really nicely. Yeah, it's just missed right about 10 feet, so we'll be pretty happy with both of those. Certainly through the turf, it feels pretty good. The divot's pretty consistent that we're hitting with that as well. And yeah, I've never used a Hi Toe wedge really before. Not in competition anyway. I've obviously done reviews of previous models, but it doesn't really look that odd to me. I actually quite like the shape of this. The toe is actually a little bit higher. It looks a little bit more conventional, I think, in terms of the shape of the head, and the face doesn't look quite as weird and angular as some of them have done before, which I quite like. I really like that leading edge paint infill as well. It really helps with alignment. And like I say, that feel off the face and the flight there was very, very good too. So we thought we'd try a slightly longer fairway bunker shot as well. So I've got the 60-degree ATC wedge here. We've got a bunker shot of about 50 yards, which is one that everyone hates. So we'll see how this goes through the turf and see if we can get, or should get, plenty of spin out of this bunker off this type of shot. Yep, stop very, very quickly. Very good shot. Let's just hit one more. Really good how it goes through the sand as well. I feel like you've got loads of control. A bit longer, needs to spin. Oh, it's just stopped dead. Yeah, it came out a bit hotter, got a little bit of spin on it. But yeah, really decent amount of control out of this bunker. The wedge goes through the sand really nicely, and I'll show you, I won't wipe the sand off here, but I'll show you how the grind is working as well, because you can see it really, really well on how it's gone through the sand and how this sole has actually worked. So I'll play a couple of shots over this bunker with both these wedges. It's a shot many of you absolutely hate. It's certainly not one that many people like to play over a bunker. We've got a little bit of green to work with, but it's certainly running away from us, and you know, it's quite quick down there, to be honest. So we'll try the 60 to start with and see how we get on with that, and then really put that 56 to the test and see if we can stop it. I mean, that spun very, very quickly and stopped very quickly actually. I thought it was really going to run away down that hill. See if we can land one a little bit further. Maybe a bit aggressive. Yep. Can't believe how quickly that first one stopped. That should be pretty. That stopped dead as well. To be honest, I think it would be a 56 that I used from this position if I was out on the course. Well, that's really spun. So with 56, we'd expect this to come in slightly flatter, maybe land it ever so slightly shorter, and maybe get a little bit more run. Yep, certainly done that a little bit. Like I say, this is probably the club that I would go for this sort of shot naturally, really. A little bit further, I just thought I'd see if it was going to spin. Let's just play one a little bit shorter again. Yeah, I mean, that's more like the way I try and play it, I think. Just land it just on the green and let it sort of run down there. But the amount of control is pretty good. Let's land it a little further, but I still think it's good. Yeah. And one more. Yeah, I mean, certainly from a consistency perspective, if we compare it to what we did with 60, 56 is definitely like I say, it's the one I feel more comfortable playing this shot with. We've got that little bit more bounce as well, so you've got that little bit more kind of get out of jail if you don't strike it particularly great. And I know many people that I coach in short game really struggle, and this kind of wider sole really helps that as well. So you can kind of go after it a little bit more, commit to the chip, and we still get kind of spin and launch pretty similar in every shot. If we look at particularly the 4 there, they're almost in a line, so the distance control is very good. That sort of second one I hit where I tried to hit it a bit harder and see if it would spin has obviously gone a little bit further, but those 4 there are all kind of well within holeable distance to obviously get up and down and save your par, which is really what these clubs are aiming to do for you. So we're going to hit some out the bunker as well, see how both of them go through that sand. In particular, it'll be good to see how the higher bounce ATS versus the ATC sole in the 60 really helps us play these bunker shots and see what difference we see with the flights and the spins that we get. So I've just thrown them pretty randomly in the bunker here. Like I say, I've got the 60. Reminder, it's 8 bounce this, so not the most bounce to play bunker shots with, but we'll see how we get on. I would probably normally use a wedge with a little bit more bounce than this, but yeah, we'll see how it goes through this sort of green side bunker. It's okay, a little bit heavy. Slightly better. It actually goes through the sand quite easily. I was expecting it to kind of dig a little bit more than it does. That's a better one. A little bit more spin on that as well. Yeah, again, pretty good. Let's hit one more. It's a better shot too. That had loads of spin on. Yeah, pretty happy with it. I honestly thought it would probably dig into the sand a little bit more than that, but we could see the sort of shallowness through the bunker there. It's not any big sort of diggy divots into the sand, and again, we can see that sole really working quite nicely on this. So whilst it is quite low bounce and obviously high loft, I think that the sole is kind of doing its job really. So when we are opening it, there is still quite a bit of mass there between leading edge and back edge. We've obviously got that higher CG as well. So some of those bunker shots are actually coming out a little flatter than I would expect them to as well. But yeah, plenty of spin and quite good control. Let's see what the 56 does. So again, we'll do something pretty similar. So pretty random in where they are in terms of the lies and stuff, and see how the 56 works. And again, remind ourselves that we've got 10 bounce now, ATS, so that square of sole, a little bit more mass there, so we should be able to hit into the sand more with this wedge and hopefully get similar results to what we saw with the 60. Yeah, certainly really tried to hit down on that a lot more. Has come out with a bit more run on it as well, which you'd expect with it being slightly less loft. Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's coming out really nicely actually. Really easy to play bunker shots with. And that spun quite quickly when it hit the green. Wow. Stop. Got a bit aggressive on that one, guys. Let's hit one more. That's more like it. Get in. Oh. So yeah, I think that fourth one was a bit of a reaction to the third one coming up a bit short, but yeah, certainly it kind of goes through the sand nicely. Actually, there's a little bit more kind of energy required to get it out of the bunker with this wedge because there's that bit more mass in there. So for those of you that maybe struggle to get out of bunkers and need that bit more bounce, something to help you get it out of the sand, something like this could work quite nicely. We've obviously got the forgiveness of those full face grooves. It goes through the sand quite easily. This slightly wider kind of sole and more bounce in this wedge as well really helps to play that type of bunker shot. We can see they come out slightly flatter with a little bit more run on them. So depending on the type of bunker shot that you're trying to play, would depend which one of these wedges that you would use from that situation. But yeah, we can see I've obviously got one a little bit wrong with the distance, but the others, we'd take them. I mean, certainly those three that are very close, you'd fancy knocking, you know, most of those in. The other two, one that's only just stopped short of the hazard, but yeah, I think that was a bit of a reaction to the one before coming up short. But yeah, both of them very, very good out the sand. Depending on the type of player you are and your kind of attack angle and things like that, would depend which wedge that you go for. But that's why we get fitted for these things as well. It's not just your irons and drivers you get fitted for. Wedges are very important to get fitted for too. So we're going to have a little pitching challenge with these two wedges. So I've got the ATS 56, we're just short of 100 yards here, and then I've put some balls down there that we're going to hit with the 60 at about 80 yards. So a little bit of a difference, and we'll see which one we hit the closest. So like I say, flag bang in the middle of the green, around 100 yards. So it's a pretty sort of steady swing with this. Good for line, it might be a little bit short. It's okay. Let's hit a couple more. They do feel very, very nice off the face, these wedges, and very easy to control. That's a better swing. Right on it, I think. Yep, I think that's pretty close. Leaked it a little bit, but go on, kick off the bunker. I think it's good for distance. Yeah, just pushed it a little bit. Let's then try the 60 degree in that ATC sole. Again, 8 bounce and that C grind. So this, traditionally when I've had wedges fitted for me, is probably a bit too low a bounce for me for a fuller shot like this. And it will probably dig a little bit too much, but let's have a go. Let's see. Again, feels good off the face, just pulled it a little bit. But yeah, it's okay. Let's hit these two. Certainly feels very different going through the turf. Yeah, it's okay. It's pretty good, I think. Well, let's see if we can actually hit one close. Just drifting off the flag, but I think it's good. Yeah, certainly the second two, much nicer flight. I've probably pitched about pin high. Let's go and have a look where all of them have ended up. So let's take a bit of a look at where our shots have landed. We'll start with the 56. So the first couple, a little bit short for distance, probably hitting it a little bit too smooth, but bang on line. And then that last one, we just pushed it a bit, but we're pin high here. Got about 15 feet. And then the ones that we hit with 60, we can see these two, particularly that one, much better for distance, and that one I just pulled a little bit just on the left hand side there, but all fairly decent wedge shots. They're all on the green, they're not particularly close apart from that one. But yeah, certainly off the face, the flight was very, very nice. The kind of flights I was getting, particularly with 56, and that kind of sole with a bit more bounce on it, really helped to play these types of pitch shots. The 60, probably a bit diggy for me. I know the shots were fairly good, but I'd be worried that I'd get the odd one a bit heavy and it might not go very far. So this is the thing with wedges, you've kind of got to have a bit of a trade-off sometimes, because that wedge for me with the, you know, the ATV sole is great for if you want to play a flop shot, open the face up, you've got that kind of relief out the heel and the toe, you can play that type of shot. But for a straight face pitch like that, it's not as good as the higher bounce and squarer grind that we see in the 56. So it's maybe good to have a bit of versatility in your wedges, have different ones that can do different jobs. And that's again why we go and get fitted. But certainly it was great testing these wedges, good to get out here on the golf course as well, and particularly on a nice sunny day here in Leeds. Hopefully you've enjoyed that. It's been great to test them on the Trackman as well as the golf course. If you've got any feedback about that, give us some comments below as well. We love to see those from you too. And keep watching all of our content on the Golfshake YouTube channel to help you play more and play better. See you soon.